Hey, welcome back everybody to the FaZe Atlanta Major. And I've got to say, we've had a little bit of a delay. We've got a little bit of a weight on our hands, but the good news is it seems like a lot of the issues have been resolved now, and we can finally turn our attention to some good old Halo that we've been waiting for here, Andy. We've got SSG and Quadrant who have been waiting on our main stage, and it looks like we're about to get underway here.
Yeah, anxiously waiting. Us too, of course, up here in the commentary booth. We know all of you in the arena as well as at home. Excited to see this match finally get underway. If you didn't catch the pregame, a very, very good and important game number one is coming up. It's Forbidden CTF.
It is indeed. Now, we mentioned how important this first game of the series is for a number of reasons, right? But one of those reasons is the record of both teams on this particular game type. And it's a one-on-one result for SSG, so they're kind of 50%. Well, they're exactly 50%. Even my maths can work that one out. Well, on the other side of things, Quadrant yet to win it, 0-1 for them. So it's a little bit of a coin toss game type, and we know that it's the newest one in the suite of game types that we have, and maybe there's not a huge amount of experience from any of the teams in the Halo Championship Series when it comes to Forbidden CTF, but that gives an indication that with the rest of the series and how the records are looking, it's an opportunity to strike first for either of these teams to get that advantage before we head over to Recharge.
Yeah, there you see that CTF Forbidden on your screen there in game number one, and cannot wait to get into it. Opening battle is going to be key, and not just that game, but that opening battle is a tone setter for both teams for the entire weekend.
It really is, and I think setting the tone is something we'll be talking about a lot today for numerous different reasons. Every single team who approaches our main stage has got a different reason to set the tone for their tournament. Well, good news is the tournament is about to get underway, and it's going to be SSG versus Quadrant to kick us off here in Atlanta. The last time we saw these two teams, it went all the way to that Game 5.
It really did. It was a historic match that we are not going to soon forget, and you hope that this one might be one for the history books as well. Starting things off with StelluR and the snipe for SSG.
Ooh, a little body shot to start with. Doesn't quite connect with the second, but an ankle shot onto SLG will be good enough for him to put his first kill on the board. Also, taking out Snipedrone, always a good thing to do. It's a 3-dead situation here for Spacestation Gaming, and I was talking to you a little bit before this game got underway about how important it was to get your opening strategies right, and one player who does that is SLG.
Really is. That man will spend a lot of time watching your VODs. You better keep your VODs on lock, because he will be in them and in the back of your base whenever he can. Sica man on your screen here. We'll see what he can do for Quadrant.
Couple of shots coming in. Bound's going to win that 1v1 though, which is going to give a little bit of a foothold here at least to SSG inside of their base, but constant pressure keeps coming in from Quadrant. And you can see one man you don't want on your snipe tower, in your nest, is going to be Snipedrone. What a performance this man had in London.
It really, I mean, putting up enormous numbers that, you know, even he was really, I think, very, very impressed with and happy with. He's been a household name in competitive Halo for a very long time, but when we got to catch up with him earlier, he knows he played well in London. He's going to be looking to repeat here in Atlanta.
One thing that I loved about what Snipedrone actually says when we caught him is like, yeah, it's good to play well, but we didn't win though, did we? And that's pretty much what the mindset is now for Quadrant. It's not about performing and getting deep into tournaments. It's about getting into a position to win them. Well, one team that's done that, of course, is SSG. And at the moment, still on the back foot trying to clear things out of their own base. And it's just been constant pressure, it's felt like, from Quadrant early on here. But SSG, again, find themselves 4 dead. Quadrant will be able to reset, and now it's up to the new man, or the newest man on this team, Glory, to impress us a little bit more.
It's a nice job there from the back of the base in Quadrant. You can tell they were just baiting back base, because really when you're staying alive in the back of that flag, it's very difficult to get a pull going. Here comes the push.
2 players. Good communication coming in though, and you have to wonder, is he going to play for the kills? The plasmas didn't quite do as much damage as maybe Glory expected in that situation. It's a good little bit of usage of space from SSG to make sure they didn't take that damage and turn into an easy double kill.
Went for the insta. Turns out it was a finsta. Unlucky there. A little fake insta, not really catching as much as he needed there. Much damage, as you said. If both of those grenades had hit perfectly, he probably would have gotten a flagpole. Instead, it's Lqgend now with the overshield on the push.
Overshield goes to SSG, finds one cleanup, should be able to get the second as well, and now Quadrant finding themselves in a little bit of a sticky situation inside of their base. Glory goes off the diving board, but unfortunately goes off the deep end, and Lqgend is hunting for more. Can't quite find the kill onto Snipedrone, but StelluR's going to be there to get that kill, and now surely they've got to look to get that flag moving.
They bought a lot of time though, didn't they? Look at Snipedrone on main there, and also just like, how about Glory sitting there with the Hail Mary stick? Somehow bought them time as well. They get a lot of damage, but they're trying to run this flag early. There's only 1 kill on the board. We'll see if they can get this. Somehow they do. They really didn't have to kill. Look at this, Legend. They actually were down a man. It was 3v4. So this could be dangerous. On numbers alone, that pull was not really a textbook pull. Let's see if they can hold.
Last two players from SSG are still killing inside of the base as well, which is allowing SLG now to be in a position to take a 1v1. Can he get the return? He just about manages to do so as StelluR comes in to clean up those players, but a little bit of a let-off there, you would say, for Quadrant. SSG had a really good opportunity to strike.
Really, really interesting there, and I think a lot of people might have been thinking the same thing that I was thinking on that pull. Actually, as Legend's pulling, they lose StelluR, and there's no kills coming in for SSG, and they still try to force that run, and now StelluR is they're still paying the price from that skill rotate. Oh, man, StelluR almost does it, but they're paying the price. It was 3 dead, and now a Quadrant flag will be run, so this really could be a bad domino effect. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, next set of kills is important. If it goes the way of SSG, they should be able to secure this return. However, you've just seen what happens on screen when you give this man a sniper rifle. Glory with a chance to set up top mid here and pick some heads. There's another one onto an ex-Quadrant teammate, and this is the man that took his seat.
And the flag is still running. To quote Wes Clutch Price, all they do in Ireland is drink beers and take faces. And Glory knows how to do it well. We'll see if he can hit another one. Finally, he's taken down, but is the flag going to go? It looked like it would have been coming around the back ramp right about now. Yes, Sica about to round the corner, and the flag does go in. Quadrant will put the flag on the board, and it's a big dagger here. We talked about how important that first flag was going to be. SSG, in my opinion, with a really, really careless run. You don't run that flag. You don't force it when you're in a 3v4. They are still, minutes later, paying the price. Now Snipedrone has the OV as well. Quadrant with the early lead and the early control.
Glory pushing forward as well. You saw it was a little bit of a 2v2 after that flag did get capped. And the 2v2 was won by Quadrant, which allowed them to then get that overshield and keep this pressure on. And having control of the nest, having control of the sniper bridge is such an important position on this map, and Glory is holding it down. SLG's up the map. You can see he already wants to give that flag a little bit of a pull, get that one running as well, with Sica picking up kills and Glory picking up another. There's a chance for Quadrant here with SSG, 2 in the death screen to maybe secure a second flag.
2 dead for a moment. What's Glory do here? Looks like he's going to think about a pull. Going to get a touch there. Was 2 dead. Still rotation there, so probably 3 dead in the end. That flag will now be ran. Glory's going to be back ramp. Very nice movement as well. This one could go.
Yeah, this one should go. Spacestation staggered on their spawn. 2 of them just spawned inside of the base, and it's just a case of hitting the slide, making sure this one goes home and doubling your advantage. And Quadrant with yet another kill going to Glory here. It's 12-7 as they put that second flag in.
Not kidding when I say it's really, we're still seeing the dominoes fall from that pull that we saw from SSG. It has been constant control. Finally, SSG gets 3 dead for Quadrant. 6:26 left on the clock, so still a lot of time to play with, but they need to change the trajectory of this game and do it now.
Questions about how quickly SSG start tournaments. Well, at the moment, it's been a start that's been very impressive from Quadrant. They're the ones who have the lead. They're the ones who have taken the initiative. But with 2 dead, 3 dead, maybe even 4 dead, Snipedrone is last alive, who's trying to get in a position to do some damage. That flag is already halfway across the map, and it looks like SSG are going to answer back here.
Legend should bring this one back. We'll see in just a moment. That flag, yes, indeed, it does go in. So SSG finding some footing here, and they're looking a lot better now. Still with the overshield, and they could easily back-to-back cap here. Maybe playing the long game slow and steady. Still 2 dead. Here, oh boy, last second. Big damage comes in there. It looks like one of those shots at least might have been a snipe, and that will slow things down for just a moment. Quadrant can breathe yet again.
I think SLG managed to pick that snipe off. He won a 1v1 inside of his own base and managed to collect the snipe as it just came off of the spawn, and
does sound like
doing that damage was enough to stop that flag run. And how important could that be, right? Because it looked like everything was set up for success for SSG to look at tying this game up at 2-2.
And undoubtedly an Arresto momentum there coming in. From the side, Eco answers back, though, with a counter-snipe killing spree of his own. But SLG does well, as we said, to stop the momentum there. That could have been very dangerous, and to be honest, not always a snowbally game type. Flag being ran here. It was 3 dead for the side of Quadrant. Back of the base spawners. Guess what? Eco's going to be ready for him.
Yeah, the scariest thing is here, you don't really need to hit too many shots. It's the presence of the sniper rifle, right? If you can hit a couple of bodies, great, but knowing that you can't peek, knowing that you can't overextend means that Quadrant have got to be so careful. And even though the flag will go home, it's worrisome moments here for Quadrant as they find themselves 3 dead yet again with SLG as the last alive. However, he had 1 sniper bullet and he's now got a few more, and he managed to put 1 to use to at least let Quadrant get some sort of purpose on the map.
Feels like for Quadrant fans it might be deja vu all over again. SLG will burn an extra shot, but he will eventually fall down. Sica connects, but does not clean up. All eyes are going to be up on that overshield, which easily could close out this game, but this is dangerous territory for Quadrant. We've seen it how many times before, and it feels like it's becoming a tale that's a bit too old for them. Up 2-0 early on, and now 2-2. Next flag will win the game.
5 seconds still, that overshield. Trades across the board at the moment. It's a 2v2. Eco in a position to put some damage down, but wow, they forgot about Legend. Snipedrone swoops in, but he's not going to be able to pop that overshield as well, and the snipe from Legend has opened the map, and now he's putting yet more pressure onto the Quadrant respawners. SSG should have that overshield as well, unless Quadrant managed to throw it off the map.
Keeping an eye on that. Glory also just up the main ramp, going to find himself in a 1v1 with Go, but looks like not going to be able to challenge there as he felt that extra little bit of damage coming in from either Bound or Legend. Finally, he will fall. So once again, SSG continues to apply the momentum and get the opening breaks. 3:30 now left in the game. Looks
like maybe Snipedrone was able to throw that overshield off the map. We haven't seen it in the hands of SSG, certainly from their point of view, and from the point of view of the Quadrant players as well. So a little kind of desperation play from Snipedrone to get into a position to at least negate the overshield and the impact that it could have on the map has allowed Quadrant to get a little bit of space. SLG with one as well is going to create yet a bit more, and there's an insta-explode that works. There's a double kill, and SSG find themselves 3 dead. Bound as last alive.
Wow, look at this back and forth. It's really going to come down to who can put together the last final push, whether it's in regulation or OT. That really will be the decider here, and it's been such a fine set of margins here. See if Snipedrone can stay alive.
There is a player who's got a sniper rifle, and his name is Glory, and he's overlooking so many of these players who are trying to get that flag pull. We saw he got taken down, but SLG, he's got a sniper rifle of his own, and 2 dead here for SSG means that Glory is waiting for that kill feed to pop up before he runs this flag, but instead he's got the cover, he's got the support, he's going to try and force this one home.
What a great play from Snipedrone. Sitting there, Mohawk waits for his shields to recharge. An absolutely huge play. We'll see if he can round the corner.
It was all about KD, it was all about kills in London for Snipedrone, but this time it's all about running that flag, and Quadrant will win game number 1 here. 3-2.
Wow.
Whew.
We said it was going to be a good one. And these two teams delivered. What a back and forth match. In the end, though, it's Quadrant that makes sure they take game number 1, and a whole lot to unpack from that game, to be honest. I think most notably, most importantly, SSG loses their 4th consecutive game number 1 in tournament play.
Yeah, that's a statistic that they will want to change, but unfortunately, certainly can't change it this tournament, as it will be Quadrant who go up by 1 with a 3-2 win. Now, I want to go back and talk about some of the big moments in that game, and one that kind of sticks out for me, I was like, the overshield that came up towards the end of that game. Snipedrone is last alive and manages to get in a position to pick it up and throw it off the map. Being able to fight out of spawn in a 4v4 is tough enough on that map, on Forbidden, but if you're going up against an overshielded player who's an SSG player, it's more than likely that flag's going to be moving.
Yeah, you saw StelluR, right, when he was coming down main ramp, and he's now wrapping main ramp to go to rat sewers with an overshield. They're going to clean up those kills. They're going to get them. It really would require a disaster to not get a pull, at least, when you have an overshield in a straight 4v4. Take a look at some highlights, because that was a back-and-forth tug-of-war match, and it felt like it was going to be all Quadrant all the way. And to be honest, I know we talked about it quite a bit, but it was really plays like this where they start to run this flag. They really tried to force it. SLG gets the return in the rat sewers. To be honest, it always felt like from our POV that return was going to come in, and Spacestation spent the next several minutes paying the price from that uneven, disadvantaged push. Quadrant goes up here 1-0. You see Glory still fighting and making sure this one goes home. Those were great shots as well. That second flag did go. You'll see here in just a moment as Glory's going to be the one to wrap the corner, and then things changed quite a bit after there.
They certainly did. It was SSG who managed to wrestle at least a little bit of momentum back to get that first flag on the board, like you can see on the score here. Eco hitting some nice snipes, but not only the game-changing moment for me is when the game is tied up and that overshield goes off the map, Quadrant win that fight, but then somehow or other, it's not just one snipe they get hold of, it's 2 as that final flag starts to move. We saw Glory get taken down, and in my head I'm going, SSG have done what they needed to do to take the snipe out of the hands, they can fight on the footing. But SLG was still there with their sniper rifle, and all of a sudden it's like, well, one of us gets bodied, this is game over, and that's exactly what turned out to happen.
Absolutely, look at that. Not even a reaction there from Glory. The man is locked in, the man is focused, the rest of the teammates popping off, but he is just here to do business. 3-2 is your final score here on Forbidden CTF. It will be Quadrant taking game number 1, and if you missed the pregame, this was the game they needed to take. They have losing records and certainly inferior records in games 2 and 3 when compared to SSG. Games 4 and 5 are the games that they always wanted to send this series to, both in terms of statistics and preferences. They've done it now in game number 1. They've done the hard work. We'll see if they can continue the momentum into game number 2, StelluR on Recharge.
Well, speaking of those records, right, let's put some numbers to them. You look at SSG and you're looking at StelluR Recharge, a 3-on-1 record so far across this year, which is pretty damn good when you consider some of the teams they're going to be playing in those brackets that they go through. On the other side of things, it's 2-2 for Quadrant, which is not great, not bad, but certainly something to improve on.
Yeah, it definitely sets us up for a fantastic game number 2 as well, right? Because sometimes you do have teams that are coming in with something like a 4-1 record versus a team that's 0-4, and you're thinking this one might already be written. However, for this one, it's definitely another opportunity for Quadrant to bounce back. I think in terms of the overall story and the tug of war, of the series, it's going to be interesting because on paper, this one should be an SSG win. We should go into game 3 tied up 1-1. Quadrant, though, with a chance to upset for sure on this game number 2.
They certainly do, and it's always a better feeling to go into a game 2 StelluR knowing you're 1-0 up in the series.
God, especially when the other team has a winning record on it. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, almost the records go out the window a little bit, right? If you're 1-0 down and you see that record, you're like, we're going to be 2 down. We're going to have to somehow win 3 games back-to-back, and it looks like a much, much tougher task. But the task looks a little bit more simple now for Quadrant, but SSG, with that map record they have here on Recharge StelluR, they have been pretty damn good. Just the 1 loss this year, so an opportunity for them to right the wrong of game number 1 and tie this series up.
Yeah, and if you're an SSG fan or player, what you want right now is to have this be a resounding win, right? You're looking for a 50-40 or greater, really a 50-42 maybe at worst, just to convince this thing and sell the fact that you are back here in the tournament, you tie the series up, you maybe get back into it with your mentals. First kills go the way of SSG.
So this time it looks like the opening strategy has gone the way of SSG. Like you say, a 2-1 lead. It's a little bit tighter than expected as the kill was picked up by a member of Quadrant. Glory got that kill, and now he's seen a double push. Look at the aggression coming in here, but the cover fire from Lqgend is keeping Bound alive, and somehow he manages to buy enough time for Eco to move in, pick himself up a camo. And Lqgend picks himself 2 kills up for his tally as well. So a 5-2 lead now, and it's a strong start here for SSG.
Very impressed with Bound's really very specific angling there. That is not easy to do, to sit there on Tower 1 and perfectly angle yourself away from the 2 battles and get damage on the 3rd player. That is Bound playing his best. They do let the camo dissipate, though. It's very good timing here from Quadrant. Still a lead here for SSG, 5-2.
Looks like a bit of flood coming in on the tower. Snipedrone's going to pick up 1, but Eco's looking for a trade. He's going to find 1 onto SLG, but do you check your corners? And that darn pillar, we know how difficult it is to kill people at the moment, and StelluR arrives in time to get 1, and Quadrant will find themselves 3 dead. So the pillar, unfortunately, not quite thick enough to keep all 4 players from Quadrant alive.
I kind of want to get a t-shirt. The pillar, I feel like, has been the star of this entire game so far. We're 10-5 now, SSG, as they want to make the story much more about them. Whew. That's going to continue here. StelluR does not connect on the second one. Almost uses the sticky to make the player strafe into the shot. A little bit of a nice technique there coming in with the shock play. Still a 12-7 lead here. Snipedrone tries to take the boomstick and see what he can do.
Now, interesting moment in this game, right? We saw StelluR pick it up. He's 4-2 in this game. Double positive at the start. He had that shock rifle you can see now being changed over to the hands of Snipedrone, and this is the player who's going to have to match StelluR statistically when we get into this game. But unfortunately,
Eco wanted that thing back.
He got that thing back, and not only that, he kept his teammate alive once more.
That's the equivalent of a neighbor coming over your fence, stealing their football back and sprinting right back over. And actually, that belongs to us. We're going to take this back. Also, very nice work with the Shroud and the camo to now be able to connect on shots like that. It's a 2v2, but it's 18-10. And like we said, if you are SSG, you want to have a game 2 like this. You want to make a statement for not just this series, but your tournament run overall.
2 camos in a row. Glory at least gets the kill to take the shock and the camos down, but around the damage that he's outputting, not enough members of Quadrant there to clean it up. And you're looking across the statistics at the moment, every single member on the side of SSG is in the positive. On the other side, not too much to talk about outside of Glory, who's 7-4 at this moment.
Quadrant does well in that scenario. Once again, things just rattling around control seems to be a popular place at this time. Heavily trafficked region of the map. Oh boy, SLG with perfect shots and the shot caller on it.
And that can be a momentum changer, right? One big fight, one big win, one perfect can all of a sudden just turn the momentum back in your favor. And SLG, with that play, is now trying to push the troops forward a little bit. And all of a sudden, you see the kills start to go the way of Quadrant. 2 dead on either side, make it 3 dead on either side. It's a 1v1, and the game feels a little bit tighter than it did a few moments ago.
It really does. It was just 19-10, but just like that, a 7-kill game now, 25-18. It does feel like Quadrant managed to keep things very respectable there with some very good work in control, that they eventually also have a very nice pipes push, excuse me. The timing was pretty key there. As quickly as we say that, though, it's right back to an 8-kill game.
One thing that's kind of jumping out to me a little bit about how this game has started as well. We mentioned about the maybe questions about the SSG teamwork back in London, right? How many players are getting away one shot from Quadrant at the moment, and a teammate is coming in just as you think you're getting that final shot to take you down from SSG. So the teamwork seems to be clicking a little bit better for them, especially in this Slayer. Quadrant just struggling to clean up the damage they're putting down.
Doing everything he can. SLG somehow stays alive, avoids that insta, but in the end taken down regardless. Game comes back within 7. And the one thing Quadrant needs to be careful about here is they're really doing well to keep this game close and respectable, but they need something to change, right? They cannot keep at an 8 now. Oh boy, and now a 10-kill deficit for just a brief moment after 3 kills did come in for the side of SSG. Somehow Snipedrone last player alive is at least going to get a burn. Yes, he gets the burn. He will be taken down, but that exchange of events cost Quadrant a lot. Now they're down by 10.
Yeah, this is starting to get a little bit out of hand here, and not only is it getting out of hand in one way, you think 2 camos, shock rifles, the 3rd camo is burnt, and if that's your best result when it comes to power-ups, not too surprising to see this kill lead extending in the way of SSG. It has been a dominant performance from them so far, and a dominant performance from man on your screen. He's still double positive, 10 and 5 for StelluR.
Look at this. Once again, we've been talking about StelluR a lot. Now he wants to also, not just the entire team, but also remind people why he is one of the best to ever do it now. Picks up a double kill, 37-27. And almost bonks his head, unfortunately, but otherwise would have gotten away with the shock as well.
10-kill lead still here for SSG.
Oh,
making another one.
You knew it was going to come in.
Easy shot coming in from Eco there. SLG just trying to sprint away, just showed the back of his head, and Eco doesn't need to be asked twice. A little bit more of a difficult one there onto Sica, doesn't quite connect, but we are getting to the point now where you mentioned the resounding victory. Well, it's looking like we're going to get it here in
That's
game.
exactly it, and really this is what I expected from SSG in a game 2 like this. This is what they know they need to do. They let that last one slip away, and they're going to be thinking about that. These are veteran players. These are champion players. They know what they need to do in a game 2 like this, and they have the exact margin right now that they would have hoped. They're up by 15.
Yeah, this one is it's going to be a difficult one to win for Quadrant. Sica's last alive as well. They have his location. They're just flying. They've got the grapple. They've got the command. I mean, they've got everything you want on the map at the moment, and SSG in these last few minutes are just going to have some fun. It's 4 kills to go for them, and the memories of Forbidden, well, they're long-lost memories right now because this series is going to be tied up.
Forbidden memories, you might say. 47-32. 3 kills to go here for the side of SSG. And it's been a big, big performance once again from Lqgend and StelluR. 14-7 and 16-6, respectively. Both of them double positive or higher.
1 kill to go here for SSG. The only question is who wants it. It's going to be Bounds who gets it. And SSG,
Big.
just outside of the steak dinner, but close enough to certainly maybe whet the appetite a little bit when it comes to the final scoreline. That is a dominant response to a Game 1 loss.
That was the boost they needed, undoubtedly. From a psychological perspective, from a momentum perspective, that was very important to do, and I think SSG is going to be very happy with that. I think that's enough of a mental reset where this series could go very, very different for them. Let's not forget, they also did not win a Game 2 in London, which is crazy to say. They did not win a Game 1 or a Game 2 in bracket play in London. Instead now, they can go ahead and get ready for what's ahead. Keep in mind, we've seen really good pool play records for them traditionally. It hasn't always resulted in the same exact kind of tournament success. But right now, it's a very big Game 2 for them.
The SSG teamwork certainly seemed to be on lock in that series as well, that game, excuse me. The one thing that really stood out to me, and I mentioned it during the game, is how many times we watched a Quadrant POV and a player's one shot in front of you and you die from someone else before you get that cleanup. Maybe they were being baited in beautifully, maybe it was a bit of an overextension, maybe trying to ride the momentum, but SSG were so efficient in picking off those kills and managing to keep their teammates alive. And even these little situations here, it's actually a great example of this challenge from Eco. He knows he can challenge because on his POV, he knows that Bound is coming in who's going to do damage. So even though he's down a shot, he knows that total damage output in about 1 second time is going to outdo what he can receive. So those little things, the teamwork starting to click there for SSG, and a worrying sign for Quadrant to see that happening and that response in the series.
It is also, let's not forget StelluR's numbers there. You might have caught him 16-6.
Pretty good.
Talked a lot about, very, very good. We
Pretty
talked
good.
about how we need to see StelluR firing on all cylinders this event. We didn't necessarily see that in London, which is rare from him. To be dropping 16-6 in a Slayer is quite a statement, and we are all tied up 1-1 here heading into Oddball Streets.
Now we head into Oddball Streets, like you say. Let's talk map records so far this season. 3-1 SSG on this game type. On the other side, it's a 1-1 for Quadrant. And we were talking about how important it is to send the series late if you're Quadrant, if you want to try and take this. Reason being, you look at the overall map totals of this series, it's 10-8 in the favor of SSG and it's 5-5 for Quadrant. So there's not a huge differential between the two teams, but we talked about some of the statistics and you can see them on your screen here. The Team KD is something to keep an eye on because winning games is great. If you can do it without getting a huge amount of kills, it shows your efficiency, and Spacestation very, very good at keeping that oddball away from their opposition.
Yeah, these are your HCS London stats on your screen here, and Quadrant there with a leading in the KD as well as the round win percentage, but interestingly, Spacestation overall 3-1 in their record. As you said, they will come into this game type with that winning record. But Quadrant showing in the other stat categories that they know how to play this game type and play it well as well.
So this is the first time I feel in this series this is like a balanced game type, right? We're not quite sure who has the advantage in this one. SSG maybe have a bit of an advantage when it comes to map record, but you can see from those statistics that Quadrant are in a position to certainly give this game a real fight. And opening strategy has been important in both games so far. You think about the first opening strategy, it was Quadrant who managed to convert pretty soon after their opening strat into a first flag cap. The opening strategy from SSG was won in that game number 2, which gave them that camo, gave them that opportunity to extend the lead. So let's see who wins this one as we head into map number 3.
Start things off with Bound here. We're going to keep a very close eye on this opening strategy as well. And early ball grab there. They're going to try to bring this ball back, but StelluR and Sica will trade it out. In the end, it's SSG with a minor man advantage off the break.
Camo coming up in around 5 seconds as well. I think that's why you're not seeing a huge overextension from either team. The last thing you want to do is stagger some deaths around the time of that staggered drop of the camouflage.
Ooh,
now you're going to see the pressure start to be applied. Now you're going to see them pick up those kills and force the pace because the camo is coming up. Last player alive has been located, but it's SLG who somehow managed to get it, but he'll be taken down.
Yeah, that was bizarre. In the end, though, I like how Bound gets 3 dead. They don't over-index on the camo because they felt confident enough that they could just double team there on Cafe, and they do that, and it will be a ball grab as well. But I think they know right now they're going to need to slay pretty soon here, and the push should be coming momentarily.
First pick they get on Sica, though, so they know they've got a little bit of time. So this is an established setup now on the map. Information going to be collected by Bound. The push is being kind of focused on mid-map here for Quadrant, or certainly that initial damage. But the kill feed is starting to look a little bit even. It looks like Quadrant are just taking their time here, maybe to wait for that respawner to come in before they try and put that push together. Sica is back on the map and gets a trade, but it's StelluR again in that kill feed, combining with Lqgend, and it's going to be Quadrant 3 dead, and the ball back in the hands of Bound.
Really impressive patience from both sides there. I like what I'm seeing from Quadrant. They know they can take their time for those pushes. It will be 4 dead, as you see eventually. Staggered spawns here now coming in for Quadrant. I really like how I saw Quadrant taking their time. They're not panicking just yet. They know there's a whole lot of game to play. On the other side, SSG said the same thing. They said, if you're going to wait, we're going to wait. We're going to play this patiently as well. In the end, they do hold the ball continually, but it's only 15 seconds on the board.
One thing that's been impressive as well is Bound's survivability, right? He's been holding that oddball, he did damage, he got information, and now he's looking to convert it into some kills as well. It's another failed push coming in from Quadrant, another stronghold from SSG, and you would imagine in the next few moments or so, they could be crossing that 30-point mark.
Yeah, kind of slow from both sides here, but I like you said, Bound has been the one constant theme. We had the pillar in game number 2. Now the constant theme has been Bound here in game number 3. He's been alive at back A for what feels like about an hour and a half, and will still be putting time on the board here. 28-0. Lqgend also comes in, pop of the Bulldog. That will be 3 dead yet again for Quadrant, and it has been dominant slaying control. 4 dead now for Quadrant, and staggered, bad staggered 2x2 spawns coming in for Quadrant. In the end, it's SSG playing the slow and steady, wins the race. A rotate comes in, they're up 38-0.
Yeah, planning their rotate off of the spawn there from Bound as well. You saw the red room spawn, so they know that Quadrant, essentially where they're going to be positioned based off of that spawn. They move the ball away, and now they look for those kills. One coming in from Eco here is going to even them up, so it's a 3v3, and that's why you're seeing Lqgend prioritize picking up some kills, and it just feels like whenever you're on Lqgend POV, he just doesn't lose the 1v1s.
Does not here. Still no points on the board at all for Quadrant in this round, and what looked like it might have been kind of back and forth control, kind of getting some scrappy with the two teams meeting each other like two dogs in a park, just sniffing around trying to see what's going on. Instead, it's been quite different. SSG now up 55-0 and just really in control this entire game.
What a visual that is.
It felt like, hey, I didn't go into specifics. They're just meeting each other here. This is the first meeting.
55 points, still nil point on the Quadrant side. However, finally, it feels like they've got a few kills on their side. Finally, they've managed to break the setup, and the rotate may have been the reason for them to be able to do so, just to find some different angles onto those players, and now you have a tram setup starting to take place here for Quadrant. And I will say, for all of the kills, for all of the favorable holds we've seen on the side of SSG, the fact that it's 55 points on the board and not a round win is pretty good for Quadrant. It gives them an opportunity to get back into this round.
I agree. It's been constant control from SSG, but not necessarily the most efficient and the most punishing control. Instead, they've played a little bit of a slower approach to oddball. It's done well for them so far, but that lead is starting now to get chipped away at as we look at bottom middle here.
Camo coming up. You can see some nades going in. StelluR's trying to flank, but he's going to be sniffed out here by SLG. No connection, a little bit of a whiff. Wow. But somehow manages to trade the other way around. Eco picks up yet another kill. Yeah, that looked a little bit funky to me.
It did, yes. Somehow that comes in the end, though. 3 dead. Sica is your last player alive. He's going to be bottom middle. They should be able to just pinch this in the L. There will be pressure from Lqgend here, though. We'll see if they can make a camo grab still.
Bulldog being picked up as well, and this is the perfect time to pick it up, knowing that you can flank all of the spawners coming in from Quadrant. SLG gets his chest caved in by that shotgun, and now you're going to see him go back and pick up that oddball.
That's also a visual. It does
I don't know what's going on today.
Does not sound pleasant. In the end, though, it will be a burn for SLG, but it's really all that he can write home about. Hey, Mom, hey, Dad, not going too well. I did manage to burn camo, but looking forward to coming back home soon.
Well, we're having fun up here in the booth. At the moment, Quadrant aren't having too much fun in this round. I mean, you're looking at the stats at the moment. Only one player in the positive, and they are getting sandboxed hard right now. They had the Stalker, they had the camo, they had the shotgun, and at the moment, it's difficult to fight up against that. Last player alive is going to be Eco, though, but Snipedrone's got to be careful because there's a woofer around the corner.
Snipedrone somehow gets in there. Eco was doing a little bit of screen watching, trying to watch those C-stairs. In the end, he does get taken down 73-20 now. And Quadrant knows that they need to have some very convincing holds and really no gaps in the armor if they want to close this round out still.
Snipedrone picks up that Bulldog and says, hey, it's not quite so nice when it's on the other side of things. Is it Spacestation? Manages to pick up the simple kill, and the first hold that we've seen with some element of success here on the side of Quadrant.
Look at the ball just teetering. Finally, it goes down the stairs. This might be a little bit... Oh, Repulse comes in as well. Gets flown into the L. Snipedrone, the only player down on the map for just a moment. So slowly, Quadrant is clawing their way back in this one. SSG is going to want to close this out before Quadrant gets another 20-point hold, without a doubt.
It's one of those rounds that you might look back on at some point as something that really shouldn't have slipped through your fingers if you're Spacestation Gaming. But Quadrant playing to the final whistle here in this round, and they still have that oddball in their hand. Something to keep your eyes on a little bit as well is that camouflage, and it's going to go the way of SSG. And this is a real opportunity now for them to not just break the setup, but get that ball back for that final hold.
Love that play from StelluR. Instead, he goes bottom middle, cleans up the kill top A, does not get into tires. The last thing you want to do with camo when you don't know what's going on at tires is to jump through that windowsill, get back whack, get ninjas. All sorts of nonsense can happen there. So really veteran play there coming in from StelluR to make sure he comes away with the camo and the kills.
Clearing out some space as well for his team. Glory taking down the no shields. Ball in the hands of SSG once more. It's Eco who's picking up what he's hoping is going to be this final amount of time for them to close out round number 1. However, he gets taken down. StelluR's now in a 1v1. Last player alive, and somehow not only manages to get that kill, but stay alive long enough so that the push can come in almost immediately from the respawn in SSG.
Amazing from StelluR, sitting in the back of tires. I tell you what, if he had any more steps forward, he would have gotten hit by that plasma, but instead he knew that he could stay in tires. The player would expect that he was weak, and instead he wins that 1v1 battle to stay alive, like you said. Attempted rotate coming in here, though, for Quadrant as they continue to go down C stairs. 3 dead, 4 dead. Ooh. At the 86 mark. That could be the death knell.
Yes, Bound, who did a huge amount of damage and stalling in and around that L, managed to get those kills alongside his teammates, and now you can see the rotate is cut off, the head is cut off of Quadrant here, and this will be the final few moments. SSG will be up by 1 in the oddball.
Wow, what a time there. SSG knew exactly what they needed to do to cut off the rotate. Quadrant put a lot of investment into that rotate. It needed to work. If it didn't work, they were going to lose that round. That's exactly what happens in the end. SSG will have the round on the board, but Quadrant showing that even when they're down by 70, they can rally back into the game. We'll see if they can stay alive here. They only have 1 round to do it.
I love this from Bound. Immediate grab of the ball, right? Just having priority to it, knowing that he can get there without any damage being taken, and gets it back towards his teammates. Now he hits some great shots on the Snipedrone, who had his attention elsewhere onto Lqgend and managed to pick his kill up, but just that kind of thing. I think it's sort of like almost a mental little battle going there, saying, hey, you're down by 1 round. We just won the last game where we slapped you about a bit on the Slayer. Come and get the oddball.
Also, to bring it top tower, but then drop and kind of fight the player that's going to be pushing bottom middle that expects that you went bottom A, right? Snipedrone's expecting the ball's going back A there. He's not expecting Bound to double back against him. So like you said, a little bit of non-traditional openings in oddball, which we'd love to see across all game types. Bound stays alive with camo in hand as well. And once again, it's the same exact strategy. Take a look. Only a few points on the board. SSG is going to play slow and steady here as they pick up more and more kills. Still 2 dead.
One thing that's certainly noticeable in this game so far, and the previous as well is the power-up control and how it felt very, very one-sided. Camos, shock rifles when we were on recharge, and now you've seen the Bulldog as well, just constantly in the hands of SSG, and this is making this fight even more difficult for Quadrant. And when Bound's behind you with camo and a double kill, it's not going to be a very nice experience for the next few moments.
Can you imagine just you're trying to get anywhere, just trying to get to the grocery store or whatever, and Bound just behind, just ding, 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 picking up all these kills, just absolutely obnoxious. And Bound is doing it again. Might even get this kill on Sica. Get some help, I think. He does. He stays alive. And name me a better combo. Bound being alive and back edge.
Ball back in his hands as well, and a very similar start to what we saw in the first round. A lot of the concentration of the holds has been in and around the tower for SSG. The only time the Quadrant managed to get time was in and around the tram. So now you've got to put another push together, and I've got to say, when you're kind of looking at maybe a total tally of pushes and holds, it's been heavily in the favor of SSG.
It really has. Do not adjust your television antennas. 40-0. Bound has the ball back A. Looks a lot similar to the first round.
Shout out to everybody watching this on a TV with an antenna, by the way.
Yeah, big shout out. Because that's impressive.
Lqgend manages to get one, but Glory finally breaks a little bit here by picking up a double kill himself, and here we go. The first time that we've seen in quite some time, camo control for the side of Quadrant. And hey, surprise, surprise, the ball's out of the hand of SSG. They get the kills, and now they have tower control to set up themselves.
Also 2 dead. Glory still with us, and an opportunity to keep things scoring here. Lqgend just playing alive in music, and Quadrant's done well to slow the scoring earlier, right? They were down by 73 in the round 1. Instead, they start to rally back at the 45 mark, and now just like that, it's a 30-point game.
Sica spawns in and around the tram as well. Bound trying to peek. Glory going to challenge. It's a peek battle. It's a little look through the window of the bars of the PD to see if anybody wants to be released a little bit early. Bound is going to be, unfortunately, still a nuisance. Nice. And finally, a little bit of patience there from Glory to not overextend and give him a trade opportunity. Means he gets that kill. Quadrant back into this round as well.
Yeah, really well done there from Glory. He got the extra burst into Bound right before he went to caution door. That was the difference maker. Able to then clean up the shot. As you said, very good patience. And just like that, we now have a tied game here at the 45 mark between Quadrant and SSG. It's a big comeback from Quadrant off of another SSG early opening.
Beat down from SLG, excuse me, takes down a member of SSG. That is extremely difficult to string
I've been thinking about it the whole time.
Glory gets another kill as well, and it's now Spacestation who are finding that breaking setups isn't too much fun when you find yourselves last alive. StelluR is that player. Snipedrone's going to grab that ball. He's going to throw it out bottom middle with that repulse as well. So StelluR bought enough time. Now he's looking to pick up some kills as well. It's getting messy again between the two of them, and I mean, that's just a battle of great minds, right?
It really is. Snipedrone there with the repulse that really had, I mean, StelluR had him dead to rights, but StelluR thought he was also going to be able to clean up off of the grenades. In the end, though, the repulse makes it a trade. So, as you say, it's a great mental battle between those two players, and they will come out with a trade. Now it's still tied here at 45, Bound looking for a rotate.
Interesting to see just statistically in this game as well, who's doing the work, right? Snipedrone, traditionally the main slayer, the man with the second best KD in London. Well, his KD's not looking too good, but look at the objective time. 53 of the points the Quadrant have are down to him holding that oddball, and it's a perfect time to look at it again. 4 dead here for SSG. SLG has the camouflage. Snipedrone with the ball in his hands, and this is a massive opportunity for Quadrant to extend that lead and maybe thinking about tying this game up.
Also, how about Sica? 25 kills in the game, leading the entire game, also leading the game in deaths, interestingly. This man is just flying forward and killing most of the things he sees with a slightly higher than 1 KD.
Found himself last alive though. The hold not good for Quadrant there, and they had a lot of utility to play with. We mentioned SLG had the camo, only managed to turn it into 1 kill before he was traded out. So SSG spotted him out, and I will say when it comes to camo eyes, Bound one of the best in the game. Sometimes I'm watching POVs and scrims, I'm like, how have you seen that?
Getting scrappy now. Quadrant does go into the lead, 61-53. First time really in this entire game we've seen them leading. They've had to work hard for it, but still a lot of work yet to be done if they want to close out this round and send us to round number 3.
Damage coming in from SLG, good information collected as well. Those PD spawns came in, and the great rotate from Quadrant here to split the map, split those spawners, and now StelluR finds himself as the last alive, and Sica is going hunting. But did he spot him? Did he see him?
Let's see if Sica calls for the rotate here. It's going to be dangerous either way because he's getting pushed from 3 sides here. Does he get the stick? No, it doesn't come out there. Thought maybe we saw a plasma coming out. It will be 2 dead for the side of Quadrant, meaning the SSG push looks good.
Never found StelluR. And what does StelluR do? Sneak through, gets the kill on the ball carrier, and now you have StelluR with the ball in his hand. So a little bit of a miscommunication has now turned things in the favor of SSG once more. Quadrant, they need to be extremely efficient on this push. They need those first kills, but trades are coming in now. SLG will get 2 though, and he's forcing his team forward.
See what we can do. 3 dead. StelluR is your last player alive. He needs to play the ball, try to get a trade if he can. That's what he's going to be looking to do in the back of the base. Can't do it, goes for the double stick. This will be continued time on the board. We will see a lead change yet again. Quadrant into the lead, 75 to 74 here. This could be one of, if not the last push coming in for Spacestation Gaming.
It's been a really good life here from SLG as well. Good damage, no kills though. That's the problem. Doesn't convert onto any of those players, and that means now that SSG can roar back. They can fight back, and they can break this setup. Glory last alive. The ball will be in the hands of SSG in just a few moments, and the camo is in the chest of Bound.
Glory trades though. Glory trades somehow in the back with Eco. Really interestingly, Lqgend will get taken down. So did that buy enough time here somehow? Bound stays alive. That is absolutely huge. Here comes the pressure.
They have no idea. They lost him. Snipedrone in the 1v1, won't win it. Had no idea that he was behind him apart from the bullets in his back. And as the timer ticks up, you can see Lqgend and SLG having a little battle around the bubble, but StelluR is still alive. SLG now in a fight with StelluR. He gets taken down to no shields, finds in more damage, but Sica gets 2, and all of a sudden, Spacestation Gaming, who are 7 points away from closing the round out, closing the game out, have got to break Quadrant.
Look at this push. Back A rotate coming in here. They're about to take the lead. Eco, the only player that's pushed up enough. Kills coming in for Snipedrone.
Snipedrone gets 1. Traded out almost immediately, though, but not in time to put pressure on the oddball, and Quadrant will tie up this game at 1-1.
Wow, what a round from Quadrant, and also what a comeback from Quadrant. Once again, they're down 45-0 in that round as well. They played such a different round number 2, and it felt like they learned so much from the round 1. They did not repeat the same mistakes. They cut the scoring, they stopped the bleeding early, and they managed to take that round. It felt like when SSG hit 91 that was going to be their round. It's a great back PD push that comes in from Quadrant, and now we are tied up here, 1 round apiece. Next round will win this game and be the go-ahead game in the series.
Opening break here goes the way of Quadrant. 2 dead here for SSG, and it looks like they want to try and force these final kills, or maybe they're just going to have a little bit of a transitional setup here on the pink streak before they decide where they want to rotate that oddball, but maybe a little bit of a stutter step here, maybe a little bit of indecisiveness has now let Lqgend and co move through. It's 4 dead here for Quadrant. Space Station with the tower control, with the ball back here. Hey, we've been hit twice before.
We have. You have to wonder if maybe great shots coming in from Lqgend, wasting no time and being as efficient as he can with the red gun. But you have to wonder if SSG is going to take that round as a personal affront once again, like they did with the game number 1, right? The second we saw them lose that game number 1, they had a fantastic game number 2. We'll see if they can use that as momentum in this 3rd round once again.
Got to check your corners. Snipedrone doesn't do it, and it's an easy double kill picked up by Eco, just crouching in and around caution, and it's a very easy thing to do, right? The momentum of the game gets ahead of you, the adrenaline's flowing from the round win. You just forget to check your corners, and you gift 2 kills to Eco.
Eco looking for even more. Holding down B and Music now, already dropping the pings there, knew exactly where that push was coming. And this is going to be continued time on the board yet again for SSG. Triple their opponent's score at this stage of the game. Look at him hugging the corner. Oh gosh, he's playing this so well. Picks up the double, doesn't even try to go for the first back whack. Eventually he's taken down. It's a 1v1 momentarily, Glory versus Lqgend.
Lqgend wins it. That's all we'll say on that fight. Maybe not the most efficient way to win it, but who cares? He's dead and he has the odd ball back in his hands. But I kind of like the last 2 plays from Eco, right? Playing the corners, waiting for the damage to come in.
Yep.
And then just kind of bursting out and making sure he cleans up for those double kills. But Snipedrone gets another camo. This is much better from Quadrant when it comes to power-up control, which is how they got back into that last round. Space Station with a commanding lead, though. 45 points already on the board. The worry for Quadrant is that it felt like their holds haven't been big holds. It's been 20 points, it's been 15 points. But now, an opportunity to pick up kills is going for Snipedrone, and he's not going to miss out on this.
Oh, StelluR repulses the nade off of the water cooler. That was wild to watch here from Snipedrone's POV. He's got to be thinking, what on earth happened in there? Finally, he's taken down, but during all of that time, the ball does rotate, and it's now 39-45. It's exactly what we saw in round number 2. Quadrant comes back from a 40-point deficit, and we are essentially tied up here at the mid-game.
They're winning their individuals all of a sudden. Snipedrone picks up his kill onto StelluR. A lot of damage done on this pink streak, but nobody able to close that gap quick enough. 2 dead here for SSG, and this transitional pink streak setup that we're seeing is working once again here for Quadrant. Bound trying to fly in. Bound gets taken down by Glory. Drops the odd ball because he fancied himself a 5-shot.
Stays alive with the repulse as well. Let's see what he wants to do. Probably pick up another kill if he can before the rotate, but instead he's going to go right up the C stairs. It does not take damage doing so. Very, very nicely done. and we have a lead change on our hands. Quadrant, once again, after trailing by 30+ points, they are back in the lead here in our third round and making this series very interesting.
Interesting battle for kills as well going on as well. You've got Lqgend with 38. He might be the first to cross 40, but chasing him down is Sica. 36 kills for him as well. So Lqgend now in that battle in and around the commando, trying to get damage down. He gets picked off, and look at the Quadrant teamwork, starting to flow a little bit more than we saw in the previous round.
Love that. Glory's weak right on the commando. Sica flies through. Glory says, yeah, you get him. Yeah, you got this. Great trading, great baiting and switching. Great shots once again from Sica. Gets enough damage, but it is 3 dead. Snipedrone's your last player alive.
Enemy has the ball.
Lqgend trying to hunt him down as well. Finds the damage. The assault rifle hasn't quite got that buff as yet. Maybe after the update that one gets the kill, but Lqgend this time uses that bandage to secure it and slow the push down from Quadrant. StelluR also, again, has that bulldog, and in and around that L is a nuisance.
Look at this timing. Lqgend knew he had a chance probably not to grab cleanly and pop right away, but instead flies in, knew he had to take a fight there, top A. Really nicely done. They get 3 kills, by the way, back-to-back off of all this, and as a result, you'll probably see a lead change here any moment because this timing on these spawn rotations is so favorable for SSG, and Lqgend is just toying with them, picks up another one, it's 2 dead. SSG now in the lead, 72-67.
It's a triple kill, and it's the easiest one of Lqgend's career. He just walks around the map with that camo, picks up 3 kills without response after the damage is done by his teammates, and now we're in the last chance to live for Quadrant. SSG have been holding this whole time, and again, it's the first pick that comes in for SSG.
I mean, he doesn't even need to take that fight. He has no business taking that fight from caution into back A. That is a high-risk fight that normally you wouldn't take. 3 points to go.
This is going to be it. 3 dead here. Glory just coming off of respawn, and SSG will turn the series on its head. They're up 2-1 after winning the street softball.
Convincing closing out of that round there. We might have been tied at the 50-point mark, but it's all SSG that just closes that out so strong. Great power-up control. Really great angle control. Timing on the spawn rotates was a pain in the side for the side of Quadrant. It was really great control over those last few minutes of play. And as I said, just when you're seeing players like Lqgend take battles like that from plants into back A, that's a battle you would never take, right? That's a confident win to close out that game as well. They will end your game number 3 with a score of 2-1 in terms of rounds, and now go ahead in the series 2-1.
2-1 indeed, and I've got to say one thing that stood out to me, I mentioned it in that game, was the camo control, right? It felt like whoever had it would go on a little run, but it felt like SSG were able to maybe chain 2 or 3 sets of kills together off the back of it, and that was what gave them a little bit more of a commanding lead and more of a command in their holds in general. It felt like it was 30, 40 points every time SSG got it, whereas Quadrant not able to put just as much time on the board. But Quadrant gave it a good fight in that one, but SSG class just started to show through, especially in the end of that last round.
Couldn't agree more. I think also what we just saw is just the fact that SSG is, right, they bounced back in a big way. Let's not forget, bracket play in London. They had never been leading in a series coming into this number of games, right? They had never been leading 2-1 at all in the last 3 times we've seen them in bracket play, which is crazy to see. So it's simply the fact that they're putting these difficult wins on the board. Quadrant is pushing them in each of these games with the exception of game number 2. The rounds that we just saw in Ball was really closely fought, from Quadrant. Obviously, game number 1 went their way, so Spacestation proving that they are not going to crumble at the first sign of a mental check, right? They're doing well here. They've turned the series, as you said, back around, and they now lead 2-1.
Interesting to talk about what we're going to see next, though, right? Because this is a game tie, but we mentioned sending it late is going to be the opportunity for Quadrant to win the series, right? Now we get a little bit later in the series. We are into game number 4. They've managed to get here at least. And it's an interesting one when you look at it statistically, right? Because we're heading over to Live Fire next, and we're heading over to King of the Hill, which interestingly isn't a good game type for either team. Yeah. SSG's record on this one this season is 1-3. Not great. On the other side of things, only been played once by Quadrant, and they didn't get the win either. So it feels like nobody really comfortable on this one. It kind of sets us up nicely, right? Because we're not quite sure where this game could swing.
It really does, right? If the Netflix producers had a hold of this script, this is exactly how they would have written it, right? We said if Quadrant takes game 1, this thing gets interesting. SSG takes 2 and 3 as expected, and now Live Fire King of the Hill is probably the biggest toss-up statistically, as you said. Anyone could take this one, and obviously Quadrant needs it to be their game to force a game 5.
It's interesting that King of the Hill has been the weakness for both these teams as well. I think it kind of leans into their play style, right? They like to be active, they like to be taking space, and King of the Hill is more a game of kind of holding your angles, right? Waiting for the damage, doing some damage, and protecting in and around a certain objective, which almost feels like counterintuitive to the way these 8 players want to play this game. They want to be fast, they want to be in your face, they want to be trading kills if they can. So an interesting game type to kind of separate maybe where the hard work has been done in the time between these 2 events for these teams.
Absolutely. Now, looking forward to seeing who pops off with that snipe, because you look aside both sides of this stage, there's players who are now poised.
Picky poison.
Exactly. They don't know exactly who it might be yet, but you can bet they're going to be ready to hit the shots when it counts. Guarantee we're going to see some fantastic sniping in this one, as we said, such small margins in this game and between these 2 teams that you're going to see some pop-offs between these 2 teams without a doubt. 2-1 now in favor of SSG as we get ready for that game number 4.
So a chance here in this game for SSG to set the tone for this tournament, right? If they beat Quadrant at 3-1, it's a resounding win in my opinion. I think it's a very, very good sign for them. On the other side of things, if it goes to a game 5 and Quadrant send us all of that way, is that something for us to keep our eyes on moving through the tournament? Is that a tone setter from Quadrant to say, right, hey, we're here to beat the team that we can't beat. And if we manage to get to a game 5, if we manage to take this series, then they're a contender. Yeah,
I think both are true. I think if we get to a game 5, it's already quite a respectable result for Quadrant, and they're going to remind everyone that they are here to play. If SSG gets to a game 5 here, personally, I don't think it's right where they want to be. Right, I think they're going to be happy if they go to a game 5 and win, of course. I don't think if you really talk to the SSG players, talk to Elamite, you talk to the org, they did not intend to go to game 5 here either. Let's take a look at some top performance stats between Lqgend and Glory.
I mean, look at those stats coming in from Lqgend. They are insane. A 1.39? A 1.39 is what the
illegal
guy,
in most states.
What the guy who complains about his teammates in matchmaking puts up. He's like, dude, I got a 1.39. Where are my teammates? How have I lost this game? That's essentially what a 1.39 will do for you. 71 kills already in the series for him. On the other side of things, when your top performer is still in the negative for the KD, that's a little bit of a worry here. They need to pick the kills up.
Yeah, they definitely do, and I think we saw that really catch up with them in Oddball. We just saw Lqgend and all of SSG just really controlling the rotates. It felt like, once again, they had control the entire time. Quadrant had a few breaks, which led to good holds, but when you really looked at the kills category, it was all SSG all the way, and unsurprisingly, is Lqgend leading the way.
So here we go then, map number 4 of the series. Interesting note as well, if this goes to a map 5, the record is heavily in the favor, so far this season, of Quadrant. So SSG will know that. They will want to get this series done. They will want to close out here with a statement 3-1 victory over a team that was talked about as being a potential upset team at this event. It's a massive opportunity for both teams here and a real pivotal moment in this series.
I think we learned a lot from SSG, and just looking at in terms of what they did in London and realizing, yeah, when they're being forced to distance in these matches, we should put a lot of stock in that, right? And I think we're now forced to do that with how close the margins are in Halo Infinite. And SSG, as you said, normally you don't want to ever let a respectable opponent take you to a game 5, because game 5s, Slayers are often viewed as, for a number of reasons, as a bit of a coin toss in terms of how things play out. However, to now know that your game 5 is actually your opponent's best record in the game type entire series and one of their best Slayers, period, now that's worrying. And there's a big, big pressure, more than usual, I would say, in this game 4 on SSG.
It's almost as if like SSG just have a hand on their shoulder. You know what I mean? It's like, gotta win this one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're gonna have a conversation. I don't know who the person is behind them, by the way.
I think it's Elamite.
It could be Elamite. No, I do know.
No, I'm just
Don't do me like that. Let's go. Come on.
No, there's some SSG overlords without a doubt that they come out the back slowly. They got the dark suit on. It's like, hey,
black cape. I don't know why they're wearing capes in my head. They're wearing capes.
No. Well, I mean, I think
they're wearing capes.
They are, especially because I think when astronauts are done with a hard day's work, they come home, they throw the cape on. They can really let everything breathe.
Dressing gown
they can let everything breathe. I do think, though, we're into the game,
Never
which
smell
I'm
an empty
excited to see.
spacesuit is what we're trying to say. Anyways, Quadrant versus SSG is where we find ourselves, and an opportunity here to close out the series for SSG.
How do you go to the bathroom in that thing? Lqgend now holding at B right away. And going to put some early points on the board, and also the kills are coming in as well. That will now be a 3v3 to fight through the rest of this hill. Yeah, interesting here, isn't it? When you get the spawn inside of the garage, you usually have better access to this hill early on, and it's kind of a fight in and around the camo for the team that's spawning over on the tower. So it's kind of, we'll have early time, you might get camo if we win that fight. Usually the first hill goes your way, and it's looking like a very, very strong start here from SSG. And hey, Ego's got a sniper rifle, and if you're going to challenge, which you need to, he's going to shut this down. Sica grab, I believe, on the camo, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see. He what? Yeah, he is going to be on sandbags. It is Sica. Really good pressure, though, coming in from Eco to slow this one down.
Ooh.
They burn the camo as well. Big plays here coming from Eco. Eco hits the body shot, which slows down the entire sandbags rush, even though they had camo. Simply hitting that body prevented the entire push. It shuts the whole thing down. It shuts camo down. 1-0 in favor of SSG. It's a fantastic opening.
I don't want to, I mean, I hated that push. I have to say, from Quadrant, sending 3 players on the sandbag with your camo player.
Right.
1 grenade, and damage is done, and the whole push is slowed down. You've got to just take a few more seconds there to work some angles and get some damage down. It felt like a kind of all-in, all-or-nothing push, and it was a very simple job for SSG to take those players down. Quadrant now find themselves 3 dead again. It's been a very strong start here for SSG. Already halfway through capturing this second hill as well. And Eco's, he's still got the original snipe. He's still got 2 bullets to play with.
Jesus, crazy. Oh boy. Right away, the body shot's going to slow down the push yet again. Eco somehow is going to probably stay alive here in the end, finally taken down. But look at how many points are on the board. It's still a man advantage coming in here. The push has to come, and it has to come now. StelluR going to wait and bait. And this hill should get wrapped up as well.
It's going to be 2-0. Quadrant, time to wake up. Spacestation, more than happy for them to stay a little bit dozy as they're 2-0 up, and that's almost 2 perfect hills, if I'm not mistaken. Quadrant haven't even stepped a toe in the hill, and they've been broken again on the rotate.
Oh boy, this could be a very different series in terms of the way that we remember it, both us watching as well as the players on the main stage, because up till now, it has been a fantastic series and closely fought from both sides. This one looks a bit different.
Enemy team took the hill.
Well, finally, it looks like some kills have gone in the way of Quadrant. 2 to their name. Push is coming in and around the scoreboard and the camo. Snipedrone's got a QT to play with, so he can get in and out, but he's going to have to get in and a little bit active when it comes to this fight, because Eco has managed to get himself in a position to get that camouflage. And when you're 2-0 down and you finally got some sort of kills on the board, some sort of feel of control, knowing there's a camo player running around just makes you feel all sorts of anxiety.
Look at the kills on the side of Quadrant, and look at Bound and StelluR combining right now for 15. Bound and StelluR alone have more kills than the entirety of Quadrant. 4 dead yet again. This has been one-sided, to say it kindly. SSG will continue scoring.
Yeah, you're saying look at the kills on the side of Quadrant. I'm looking at it going, what kills? There's barely any to talk about at the moment. SSG have just been steamrolling in this game number 4, and look how relaxed. I was going to say, for a second, Lqgend looked, but then his eyebrows raised as he had his head removed.
Yeah, eyebrows raised and then promptly removed. SLG able to connect on a few kills there. Is this the moment that they can slow things down? The game is still certainly within reason. However, they need to do it now and make sure this 3rd hill does not slip away. Almost.
Good, strong push coming in from StelluR there. Took the individual battle. Both players no shield, but it's the headshot that connects this time from StelluR, and now he's got a sniper rifle. It feels like the first time we've seen him with this weapon in his hands in the series, and he's already hitting bodies.
Connects there on the key door. Gonna just hold here from window. Quadrant needs to make a push happen. They need to make it happen now.
Lqgend gets 2. No push going to happen. Unfortunately, it's going to be more time here for SSG, and it's looking like this might be 3-0, and it feels like in the time that we usually have 1 hill capped.
Wild here from SSG, and I think if you're an SSG fan, this is exactly what you wanted to see. Easy double team here to close out the hill. It will be 3-0 coming in from SSG. They look like a whole different team. They might not have had the best record coming into this game time. Let's not forget 1-3, going up against a slightly similar record for the side of Quadrant, but SSG showing that they're going to throw that game type record out the window. They're going to also start to change the direction of that record. And also, speaking of direction, Bound flying straight at the hill.
I mean, that's a great sign, right, for SSG. We were talking about is the teamwork working when Bound is flying forward. He flies forward there with half shields, does some damage, teammate cleans up that damage over his shoulder, keeps Bound in a position to now be a nuisance in and around the tower. Gets yet another kill. So SSG, that we've seen numerous examples of the teamwork looking like it's on point in this series, but I've got to say, it's 4 dead. It's an opportunity here for Quadrant. The only good thing here for Quadrant, the one small kind of minute, minuscule thing they can take away is there's 3 minutes 20 left in this game. They've been beaten that bad so far, kind of smacked around, that at least they have time to get back into it.
Exactly. SSG's been that efficient that there's a lot of game time left, but Eco's able to grab that. They find themselves 4 dead, but off the back of that, they're fine with it because they do get the spawn to grab camo. Let's see if Quadrant closes one out. Eco trying to get the kills first. Let's see if he drops.
He's just doing damage, and look at the time that he's got. You know, he gets damage down, he stays alive. Quadrant don't know where he is.
Let's see
2 dead. Now he has the info here.
Let's see if they force this. I think Snipedrone might want to try to get a few kills here and drop right in the hill right away if he can. Look how much time they have. Eco needs to make sure they don't drop in the hill at all. They get it. Interesting set of plays there, yeah.
Eco's still alive, still causing all sorts of problems here for Quadrant. Quadrant just had no idea, and the communication just didn't seem to be there. Even the idea of where he was. How many players just ran past, looking in the wrong direction?
Eco, yeah, as you said, they were never going to get that hill stopped, so Eco just stays alive as long as he can through that entire exchange. In the end, things kind of net out 50-50. The hill does go to Quadrant, but 3:03 left on the clock. SSG knew they weren't going to get the stop there, and it wasn't going to be worth burning all the time. In the end, it will be Quadrant with a hill on the board, and they've got time left to get these next two. Let's see if they can turn this around. We are set up for quite a game number 4.
They also have tower control momentarily here as well, so they have the strong side of the map. They have the position to rain down fire onto respawners, but Lqgend with 1 kill is going to break the tower. The AR is good. It's pretty strong here for Glory, and that's going to be 2 dead on the side of Spacestation. So it's almost like the memories of what was a whirlwind start for SSG feel a little bit further away. As Quadrant get that first hill on the board, they get the second hill on the board, and somehow at 3-2, we've still got just under 3 minutes left on the game clock.
The series has delivered here. It looked like it was over 3-0. Spacestation just dominating and playing with their food. Instead now, it's a 1-hill game, and as you said, with a lot of game time left. Another kill comes in from Glory. Feels like he's been alive forever. Don't do it to him. Almost connects on Lqgend as well on the dummy spawn. And now Quadrant is the first to score on this hill as well. Oh my word.
Your reaction time is far better than mine, Glory, as he hits the shot bottom middle. Eco peeks, no lessons to be taught, but Lqgend gets his shields taken away, but his life will fall on the side of Glory. Lqgend now, by winning that kill, stays alive, gets those shields back, and it looks like SSG in a position to break. Quadrant 3 dead.
Very important G-slide coming off of Lqgend there, all for the sandbags there to get to top mid so quickly to catch Glory off guard. Really, really nice mechanics and movement coming in from him. Bound to clean this one up in the back. Should be able to do so. Eventually, needs some help, and then will be closed out by StelluR. And just inching into the lead here on this hill. Let's not forget, this will be the last hill if SSG can close it out here. They've been on the receiving end of some brutal back-to-back hills coming in. But now SLG with the camo and a lot of opportunity and pressure here on this camo play.
Yeah, SLG in a position and taking different angles with the camo. This is a much, much better coordinated push coming in. From the side of Quadrant. The only problem is he's still got 2 players to deal with, and coordination means nothing.
No!
When you get taken down and cannot convert on that damage, Snipedrone follows up though, almost immediately, cleans that hill out and gets 2. It's an opportunity here for Quadrant to at least pressure this hill.
Snipedrone had to do that there. The timing was not on there. A spray and a pray comes in. The prayers are not answered for SLG. Lqgend the only player down. See if Quadrant can hold.
Big shots coming in from Eco. Feel like he did a little bit more damage onto SLG than SLG did in return. And gets that first pick for his team. Now, where's the rest of SSG? Are they playing off that damage? They're already contesting inside of that hill. Snipedrone will find 1. Lqgend will manage to trade it out. The steal comes in from Eco. It's a 1v1 on the map right now, and StelluR can step in that hill.
Look at them. We'll see if he fights, avoids the sandbag battle. Knows he needs to stay alive. There's pressure coming in from Nest side as well. He's going to QT. See what he can do.
Look how close this is at the bottom though. Quadrant just a few moments away from winning this game, but
can you imagine?
Being annoying is all that StelluR's doing. Buys enough time for his teammates to get in position, but Glory somehow got a kill, but Lqgend will clean it up, and SSG, as I catch my breath, will close out that final hill. SSG win the first series here in Atlanta 3-1, and I've got to say, it was nervy ending there, but overall, the performance was very, very impressive.
Wow, Quadrant wishing desperately they were fighting for another hill right now instead of exchanging handshakes on their side of the stage. What an unbelievable final play there from StelluR. He QTs, and in QTing, not only gets the kill, stays alive long enough for the help to come in, then it comes 4 dead, back and forth at the end. And it's SSG who closes it out, and we talked about their clutch factor, the importance of them needing, in terms of keys to victory, them needing to clutch up, avoid the game number 5. They do that. I think for SSG and their fans, maybe it's a moment, take a breath, realize, okay, we're here for the long haul. We don't have to panic just yet. For Quadrant, though, a respectable performance on the board yet again.
It's respectable, but is it any different from what we've said before, right? Is it beating SSG? No. Is it performance we're going to talk about moving forward? Never. Probably not. It's an SSG win at 3-1, and when you look across the series and you think about the big moments and the big games, SSG never really felt like they were out of control of that series. You look at game number 2, right? Game number 2 was a dominant Slayer response to losing game 1. Then you look at game number 3, 2-1, yes, in on ball, but like it just felt like SSG were really in control of it. Electric start in game number 4. Quadrant fought back, but the lead, maybe the time, just not enough for them to get back into that game. So SSG fully in control of the series. in control of their own destiny, it felt like a lot of the times there, and that's why the series score ends up at 3-1 the way it does.
Also, how about Legend? Like, how about the numbers? We just saw from Legend. We'll have to get the full stats from the series because they're going to be even better after that game as well. But it sounds like we have Blaze on the stage with an interview. Guy, take it away.